Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? Well, I'm pulling out of the driveway. And I will tell you what time it is in just a second. It is 4:10 a.m. And I don't know how long this vlog is gonna be tonight. I know whenever I say that, it always goes long. I said that last night and it ended up being 2 hours, but I don't feel very well tonight. I fell asleep and I woke up and I've just been like, my stomach has been cramping really, really bad. I always have kind of this, well, not all the time, but sometimes I have this reaction that's like, I'm lactose intolerant, but I'm not lactose intolerant because sometimes I can eat cheese and cream and milk and be just completely fine. And then other times, it's like, I feel like I'm having really bad, what do you call it? Like cramps. And it just is like it hurts really bad in my stomach, you know? And that's how it felt tonight. And I woke up and I was just like laying there and then Boo Radley came and he like laid on my chest and that kind of made me feel a little bit better. And then I felt real clammy and stuff too. I don't know, I feel like maybe I ate something bad. I went to Meijer and I got that corn dip tonight that I like, because they have it. And some potato salad. I mean, it was not a healthy dinner whatsoever, but I had that, like, I had the potato salad the other night, and I got the corn dip the other night too, and it didn't do this to me, so I don't know why tonight. But I laid there for a little bit, and then the cramping went away, and then it came back, and then it went away again, and so I was kind of just like, I mean, it hurts so bad, like I could, did you ever, like, when you have, like, your stomach is cramping so bad, you just, like, almost can't even move, like, that's how I felt, and, but then it kind of seemed to be going away, so I was like, okay, so I actually got up at, like, 2 o'clock, and then I was just, like, looking stuff up on the computer. You know, Caroline and I have been talking about trying to find this stuff out about our grandma forever, and we just keep on putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. And so tonight I was like, I want to find some stuff. I want to at least find out where to call to get like the prison records, and to find out, you know, if like our mothers were in foster care, like where to find that information. And so I was like writing down all the information, and I was writing down, you know, like who to contact, and for the Department of Corrections, and like the Division of Child Services, stuff like that. I have a feeling they probably won't release records, even though the people are deceased. And it says that you can request records online, and then it's like all these arrest records are on like microfiche or microfilm, but you can't go and look at it right now because the records are closed because of COVID, and they open actually on June 14th. So I like wrote down all these numbers. I'm gonna call either tomorrow or Friday and kind of see what I can find out as far as like if there's information that we can find out, because I can't find anything online. And let me tell you what happened tonight, and I really probably need to talk to Caroline before I talk about this on here. But I was sitting there and I was like putting in everything I could possibly, you know, I was putting like in my Aunt Kathy's obituary and my mom's, and like, you know, just Googling everything I could possibly Google, you know. And I need some lip balm. Do you know what I wonder if it is? I was having heartburn earlier and I bought these Tums. I wonder if these, I never eat Tums. I never take Tums. I wonder if those Tums are what made my stomach cramp. That would be really weird though, don't you think? I've never heard of anybody having cramping from Tums. But that's the only thing different that I did tonight. I wonder if that's what it was. That was the only thing that I did different today, that I ate different. I mean, I literally had exactly what I had tonight a couple days ago, and it didn't do this to my stomach. So, and it was more kind of like my abdomen, which would make sense, right, with Tums? But anyway. So for some reason, I'm sitting there. I love that lip balm. Whoever sent it to me, that new Chubby Chap lip balm, I love it. It's, the flavor is cucumber melon, and it's such a pretty package too. It has like little flowers and stuff all over it, and cucumbers. And it smells like exactly cucumber melon. It smells like a spa. It's perfect. It smells like the water that you drink if you go to a spa, if you guys have been to spas, you know? And I love it. I have all these Scentbird things in here. There's my other Chubby Chap. Why can't I find my lip gloss? But anyway, I was sitting there and I was like typing in all this stuff about my grandma, like my grandma's name and all her maiden name and all this kind of stuff, like 15 different ways, right? And nothing, just nothing was coming up. I'm gonna use this lip plumper actually tonight because it's, well, I really want the lip gloss. And nothing was coming up when I was looking through this stuff. And then for some reason I was sitting there and I was like, my grandma had two sisters, okay? And so I was like typing in, I could not remember what the one sister was, because my mom would refer to them as aunt this and aunt that, right? And one aunt she stayed with, and the other one she didn't when she was growing up. And my mom would talk about how she stayed with my one aunt, and she didn't really like her, and she was always scared of her, and that was where my Aunt Kathy did not go stay. Like, my mom went and stayed there by herself. And I could remember her name, but then I was like, no, that was my grandfather's sister. And then I was like, what was the aunt? I could remember going to visit her, like, after my grandma had died. Like, when maybe I was, like, 14 or 15 or something, or 16. I don't know. We went and, like, visited her at her apartment one time. And, I remember thinking, like, she was kind of mean. She wasn't very nice to my mom. And I can remember thinking, this is really weird because my grandma was so sweet and so nice. And I thought, this is, like, kind of, like, it's hard to kind of explain my grandma. Like, my grandma was, like, very, like, sweetie, honey, that kind of stuff. But she was kind of also, like hard worker, kind of rough around the edges, but like, I don't really know how to explain it. Like, to me, she was always just my grandma, you know? But like, I look back and like, she's had like this white roller set hair that was just like always perfect. She wore like a hairnet before, when she went to bed, to keep it perfect. Her nails were like absolutely perfection. Like, you know, red, I mean, they were like blood red perfection. And like, my mom and my aunt, I can remember at my grandma's funeral saying something about how nice her nails looked. Her nails always were perfect. And she got her nails and her hair done like every Monday or Tuesday, or beauty shops. We used to call them beauty shops back in the day, but they weren't open on Mondays. Do you remember? They are now. But anyway, a lot of them are. But back in the day, they weren't. So she would go like once a week, I don't know when, to the beauty. She'd say, I'm going to the beauty shop. She went every week, the same day, and got her hair set and her nails done. But she always wore, my grandma very rarely ever wore skirts or dresses. Like, I hardly ever remember her wearing skirts or dresses. She always wore like polyester pants, and then like a shirt that would match it, kind of, you know, and it'd be like one of those shirts that like kind of buttoned up, and she smoked just one cigarette after another, and she smoked Salem Lights. She was a teetotaler. She hated alcohol, and she would drink coffee and little Cokes, like the little bottles of Coke. She loved those, or canned Cokes. And, but you know, like, to Caroline and I, she just was like fantastic, and she was an amazing cook. You know, she did like, for Christmas, she did like the turkey and the ham. I mean, she did it all, you know, the sweet potato casserole or whatever, sweet potatoes, and macaroni and cheese, which I've talked about, and this stuff. I mean, she did everything, mashed potatoes, all of it, you know, and, she just was a really good grandma to Caroline and I just have really fond memories of her. So I can remember like meeting this lady and being kind of surprised. Like, I don't remember having met her a lot before. I may have, and I just don't remember it. This aunt, my grandma's sister. So I'm sitting there and I was like, what was her name? What was her name? What was her name? And all of a sudden, I remembered her name. And I was like, oh my God. And I put it in, and all this stuff came up. And I was like, oh my God. Like, and it... Anyway, it started coming up with other stuff. Like, and I found some stuff out. And I'm like sitting there reading it. Nothing like that about the prison stuff. I can't find anything about that. But this is interesting because when I was looking, it said arrest records before, and I think it was like 1985, which was like, would have been the year that my grandma died. It was like 1984, 1985. It was like all Department of Corrections records before 1985 are on microfilm. I was like, of course, like, you know, the right before she dies, you know, is like when they change it all over or something like that. I have a feeling I'm gonna have to go there, which is, I think in Indiana, it's like the faraway women's prison. So Caroline and I might have to do a day trip or something like that. Anyway, I started finding all this information. I was just like, I can't believe because of one person's name I found this out. And long story short, my grandma, I think, had an alias. I think she went by an alias. She either went by an alias or she officially changed her name. It's one or the other. Because there's literally nothing that comes up when you put my grandma's name in any kind of search anywhere, ever. Nothing comes up. Like, literally nothing. No obituary, no, like, nothing comes up. And so I was like, but some other stuff does come up of somebody else with a different name, but it matches the same. I think my grandma had an alias. I think she had an alias that she went by, or like maybe before she got arrested, or I think she legally changed her name or something, because and this all happened later tonight, so I haven't had a chance to call Caroline and talk to her, because it doesn't connect. It's like, like when I'm reading it, it's like I'm reading about my grandma, but the name is different. And I'm like, unless there was another sister. And then this is what I remembered my mom telling me, because I've told this story on here actually before, that my grandma's mom died when my grandma was really young, like 10 or 12, I think. And her dad remarried. And when he remarried, my grandma's stepmom was really mean to her. And my grandma was the oldest. And then she had a brother, and I remembered his name too, which helped with this search. And I remembered his name, and I remembered my mom's aunt and uncle's name on that side. And I think it was his kids that came to my aunt's funeral. Like, I've told this story on here before, like when my aunt died, and like there was this couple that came at the end. There's like a couple, it was like this woman and this man, and then this woman's husband. It was real funny at my aunt's funeral, because he was like, do you care if I go get a cup of coffee? And Caroline was like, no. And they literally came and they stayed the entire time. Like, and we didn't have any idea who they were. And Caroline walked away, and I kept on talking to them, and they're like, we remember your moms coming to visit us and the summers, and they would stay, you know, like with us in the summers and stuff like that for a couple weeks, and we just loved hanging out with them, and you know, those were like the best summers that we had and stuff like that. And I think it was my mom's uncle's kids. I think that's who they were. So, anyway, my grandma, her stepmom, was really mean and vicious to her. Like, my grandma, they must have done high school and stuff differently when my grandma was in high school. Because my mom said that my grandma went to high school for bookkeeping and math. So, like, technical colleges and things like that were different back then. I don't know. I don't really understand it. But anyway, and that my grandma, like, worked, and when she was in high school, and then she like graduated, she was very smart with numbers. My mom always said that your grandma was always, she was always saying your grandma was very smart with numbers. Well, she went to prison for embezzlement, so I don't know how smart she was with numbers. But anyway, I felt kind of bad when I was looking into this stuff tonight. I kind of felt like when I was sitting there looking at it, and I started, like, stuff kind of came out, I started thinking, I feel like I'm seeing stuff I shouldn't see. Like it was the weirdest thing. Like I was sitting there at the computer downstairs, you know, of course Alex is asleep upstairs with the dogs, and I'm sitting there and I kind of had this feeling I was being watched. It was like this weird thing. And I kind of had this feeling like, if you want to know, here you go, you're going to find out. I had this like sense, like, you know, you've really wanted to know this stuff. Okay, here you go. You're going to find out some stuff you don't want to know, is how I felt. It was weird feeling. And, so anyway, my grandma's stepmom, this woman that was vicious to her apparently, and her dad like worked a lot, and the picture, I have actual pictures, I still have them downstairs in the basement. Can you believe that? I have, of course, everything. I'm glad. I want to tell you right now, I have letters and I have stuff of my grandmother's down there in that basement that my mother saved, and I was thinking about throwing all that stuff out when I was cleaning out the basement. Good thing I didn't clean out the basement before all this, because I'm gonna go through and read those letters and find out some stuff. But anyway, I have pictures of like my grandma when she would have been about 15 or 16 with her brother and sister, and then her dad and her stepmom. And they're like these old black and white pictures, because this would have been like 1910 or something like that. I don't know when my grandma was, when she was born. I think she was born maybe like 1920 or something. So anyway, I'm trying to see if she, so I died, okay, wait. So, I was, okay, if I was born in 72, and I would have been 12 or 13, which means she would have died in 84 or 85. So if she died in 84, then she would have been born in 1920. No, because she was 67 when she died. Well, around there somewhere. But anyway, so she worked really hard to graduate from high school. This was like the only story I really remember of my mom telling me about my grandma, like when she was growing up. And she said that she like had gone and she'd saved all of her money for this graduation dress, and they weren't even coming to the graduation or anything, like her dad and her stepmom and her siblings. And she'd saved all of her money for this graduation dress. And she had it in a box and was sitting on her bed and everything to put on for graduation. And she was getting ready and she came out and the box was gone. And so she went out to the living room and the box was sitting like on the table or something. And this is the other lip gloss. This isn't the lip gloss that I wanted. This isn't the lip gloss that Lindsay sent me. How many lip glosses does it take to do a vlog? 5 million. Here it is. But anyway, she came out and my grandma's stepmom had taken the dress and literally cut it up with pinking shears or something like that. I remember pinking shears or sewing scissors or something like that. Had cut it up into all these pieces and was sitting in the box. And she looked at my grandma and said, "What do you think you're gonna do now?" Well, my mom used to say that my grandma just had the most horrible life. My aunt said it too. So I feel like they knew things that we never knew, you know? Because of course they didn't tell us, because they didn't tell us anything. I don't know why I'm so fascinated in my history, but I am. I feel like for some reason it'll give me answers to my life or something, or why my mom was, you know, different in the way she was, and why my aunt was somewhat like, my aunt was such my mom's, you know, caretaker, and my mom, I feel like, had somewhat of a tortured life and lived in, I don't know, I just, you know, I mean, my mom had a very blessed life, but at the same time, like, emotionally, she was just tortured, you know, and I feel like it would explain a lot. Caroline and I have both thought that, and I don't know, I'm just fascinated about knowing my own family's history, you know? I always have been. When I was, like, in high school and stuff, in junior high, I would, like, read my mom's yearbooks, and, like, all the things that people wrote to her and whatever. So Caroline's actually still, like, close with some of the people that were friends with our moms, like, in high school. And so I'm gonna ask Susie what she knows, but every time I ask Susie, Susie's like, I just don't remember a lot, Peter, to be honest, you know? And then Caroline's gonna ask the woman that lives in our neighborhood, because she's, like, really good, she's really close with her. And then 2 other people, and ask them what they know, that knew our moms back then. And then I haven't told her that I found these numbers and stuff yet, so I'm gonna call her and talk to her about that tomorrow, but we're gonna try to find out this stuff. But Caroline's gonna die when I find out. I think my grandma must have officially changed her name or went by an alias. It was one or the other, which would kind of make sense, honestly, you know? Because it was like, okay, so it was like listed in the funeral or in the obituary, like, you know, like, was preceded in death by a brother and sister in their names. And I was like, well, this is interesting, you know? And then there was something else that I found, which was, I don't want to get into that, but it was completely different. And I was like, and it was the same name. And I was like, unless there was a sibling that I wasn't aware of, that I had never heard of before, you know? So, I don't know, it's so weird. Family stuff is so weird. It's very still all of a sudden. It was really, really windy all day today. I mean, like, I thought, like, fall windy, like, and it got cold. It was colder today. It's 61 right now. The Fifth, what is the band's name? The Fifth Dimension, Aquarius, and Let the Sunshine In was playing when I first started. I actually left and then started my vlog, and it didn't have a memory card in it, and I had to go back and get it and come back out. But anyway, slept in today because I stayed up too late last night watching 13 Reasons Why. I'm just gonna tell you right now, if you watch 13 Reasons Why and you're watching the 4th season and you're caught up that far, I'm not gonna ruin it for anybody and say anything, but just buckle yourself in, because the 4th season is by far, since the first one, I mean, the first one's a lot because it's kind of like the introduction to the show. But the 4th, I really don't, now I think I can say without a doubt, the 4th season is the 4th and final season is hands down the most, like, tragic. I mean, every episode, crazy stuff just goes down. I'm really having a hard time watching it. It's a lot. It's really, really a lot. And it's a very angry season. You know, the show is really about, like, I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but the show is really about the kind of the unwinding of this group of friends over the course of like 3 or 4 years, and they're just kind of like slowly breaking down, and it's like the 4th season's kind of when it all comes to a head, and it's just a lot. It's really a lot. Like I told Alex, I said, are you gonna watch it? And he said, yeah, I think so. He was like, don't tell me what happens. And I said, I won't. But I said, it's a lot. You need to prepare yourself. Like, I don't think it's a good show for people that have, I don't think it's a good show for anybody that has, like, some kind of, like, semi-serious mental health issues. Definitely the 4th season is not for anybody that has anxiety. Not at all. Or panic attacks, like severe panic attacks. And they do a trigger warning at the beginning of every episode, and then at the end of the episode, they do this before you can skip to next episode. They like list like a number to contact for resources. Where am I at on time? Which great. I think that's, you know, fine that they do that. That's nice. They should do that, you know. But like, it's a lot. Like, I mean, it's really a lot. And on top of that, it's kind of like scary. Like, there's a lot of scary stuff that happens, and that you don't know if it's real or if it's not real, and but it's like a lot of jump scares kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Like, all of a sudden someone just comes at us as it's like that kind of stuff, on top of, like, I mean, the 4th season really makes you feel anxious watching it, and but at the same time you kind of can't turn it off, and it's like, because it's so intriguing to watch, and you want to find out what's going to happen next. But with the other, like with another show, like where you're like, oh, it ended on a really good, I can't wait to find out what happens next. It's not like that. It's like every episode ends so completely tragically, and it ends like right on something happening that you're like, you have to watch the next episode, because you're like, what? Well, I have to find out what happened. And if you've watched the season, I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but if you watch the season, I just finished the 5th episode, and like literally in the last 2 seconds of the episode, something like major happens. But something major happens at the end of every episode, but this is like huge, like probably the biggest thing that's happened on the whole show ever. And you're watching it and you're like, well, what just happened? And like last night, it was like literally like 6:15 in the morning. My neighbor, I was sitting in the back patio, and my neighbor came over. His dog just wanders up on our patio. He's so cute. And my neighbor felt so bad. He was like, I'm sorry, I didn't know you were still up, or that you had gotten up so early. I said, I haven't gone to sleep yet. I'm still trying to watch this stupid show. I said, I need to turn it off. And he started laughing, and I was playing with the dog and stuff. So anyway, I just, well, because I started Google searching all this other stuff that was stupid, because I wasn't even paying attention to the show halfway through, and then I had to rewind some of it because I was out there Googling stuff, which I'll tell you about in just a second. So, you know, people talk about apps like Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and stuff. I probably spend the most of my time Googling stuff. I know it sounds so crazy, but the idea that you can just like look up anything and find whatever answer you want, you don't know if it's true or not, right? But you can look up anything. I'm constantly just wondering stuff about the world. Like obviously if you watch my vlogs, you know that I'm just always wondering about this or about that or whatever, you know? And, so I was sitting outside last night and, well, this morning, because it was like 6, and all of a sudden, we have this bunny rabbit out there, and, but anyway, so I was going to say this before I get into that. So I finished the 5th episode, and it ends on, like, you're like, like, that kind of moment, right? And I was just like, I can't. I wanted to stay up and watch the next episode, but I was like, if I do, like, I will completely have just wasted the entire day, and I was like, I'm not doing that. So, I went to bed after that, but I had been Googling, like, this bunny rabbit, and I can remember him from being smaller, he or she, I don't know what he is, but anyway, because I can remember, he comes out there and he just sits. I was just talking about this last night, right? He comes out there and he just like sits, and then he like hops, and then he eats, and then he like hops, and then he like eats, and he's real cute, you know? And so, I was watching him and he was like hopping across the grass today, and I was like, he's super, super cute. I was like, I wonder how old he is. And so I started Googling, I was like, how old do rabbits live? Is the first thing that I looked at. And it came up and it said 9 years. I said wild rabbits. How long do wild rabbits live? And it said 9 years. But then when I looked into it more, it said most rabbits live in the wild a year to a year and a half. And then I got real sad. I was like, what? Like just a year to a year and a half? I got super sad and I didn't like want to hear it. So I was like, well, why do they only live a year to a year and a half? So I started reading this stuff. I don't know why. Like every article that I read said something different. The majority of them said that wild rabbits do not live very long. They live like a year to 2 years kind of thing. And do you guys know that they literally have a litter like every 6 to 7 weeks? Or no, they give birth like 6 to 7 times a year, and they have like 6 to 7 bunnies in a litter. But anyway, this is what I spend my time doing, Googling this stuff. Literally like a half an hour in the middle of the morning while I'm trying to watch the show, and I have to keep on rewinding it because I'm looking this stuff up. So I'm watching this bunny the whole time. He comes like, darts, and then just sits right in front of me. And so I'm like, you know, all stuff. So apparently, rabbits mostly die 2 ways. They either die, like wild rabbits, they either die, well, not 2 ways, there's a couple ways. Diseases, and there was like 5 diseases that they can carry. Or they die from, like, lack of being able to, like, lack of nutrition, like being able to find food in the winter. Which, you know what that means. I'm leaving food out there for my bunnies to share my rabbits. And then the other thing is predators in the wild. That attack rabbits, which that kind of makes sense to me, I guess. So anyway, and then they were talking about, like, one article was saying that, like, if a rabbit is, like, attacked, like, it's being, like, you know, like, a predator is trying to get it, that if it runs into its den, then basically the whole family dies out, because the predator then has found, they call them buns, I guess, I don't know, and then the buns run out or something like that. But anyway, and so they're all killed, and, so I don't know where this average of 9 years came up. Like, I don't know what that is about. If that's just, but it said wild rabbit 9 years. But then when I was, it stopped. It said 9 years, but when I was reading the articles, it said a year to a year and a half, like a year and a half to 2 years is basically as long as they live, which makes me really sad. And then I was like reading these like articles. It said like, can you befriend a wild rabbit? Because you know I want to so bad, right? But it said that that's probably not a good idea because they carry diseases. The other thing is said that they'll kick and bite you. They're not like real friendly. But it said you can befriend them, and what you can do is like with food, and you can leave a trail of food. And it said to leave carrots, but mostly they like hay, and it's like it was like 4 different kinds of hay. And so I'm gonna try to go. I don't know where I'm gonna find hay. I have no idea. So I'm gonna go try to find some. But it was also like Timothy hay. It was like, I think, different kinds of herbs that aren't necessarily the way that we would think of hay, you know? I could probably just go to like a nursery, right? They would probably have hay at a nursery. So I'm gonna do that. And then it feels like we only have one bunny out there. But I will tell you that interesting thing was that it said, one of the things that it said was that bunnies like companions, like they shouldn't live alone, like they get very, very lonely. So they should live with, like, have a companion and live with somebody else. And then this one thing was so funny, I loved this. It said like, do bunnies sleep at night? Do you guys go through these and just read these things? I'm like I'm so stupid. I read all these things. It's not stupid, I don't think. It's cute. Anyway, I mean, I guess I just called myself cute. But you know what I mean? Like, it's fun to look at this stuff. I like it, you know? But anyway, I mean, there are worse things I could spend my time doing, I guess. But, so I like, there was this one thing that said, do bunnies sleep at night? And it was so funny how it was worded. It was like, some bunnies sleep at night, but some bunnies sleep during the day. It depends on their schedule. Bunnies sleep when they want to sleep, or something like that. And I was like, well, that's one thing that me and bunnies have in common. We sleep when we want to sleep. I was like, I'm kind of living for these bunny articles. And then I have this pair of birds that comes out there, these little birds, and there's 2 of them, and they chase each other around, and then they come and they eat off my table every morning. They're so cute. And then I have this big cardinal. I haven't seen the squirrels lately. I don't know where the squirrels are. They haven't been coming to my table. It's been all birds. I really don't know what that's about. I hope they're okay. I haven't seen them. They come and they eat so much. Like, I don't know if it's a he or she's squirrel or whatever, but when they came that one day, I put out I took like a knife of peanut butter and I put it on the side of the table, and then I put all that corn stuff and some whatever, the bird seed mix, and it's like this mix, you know, of like bird feed, bird seed or whatever, for all different kinds of songbirds, it says. And he literally sat there and ate all the peanut butter, all of the corn. He just sat there and he was like, I have a video of it. And I was like, he is so hungry. But he isn't leaving any for the birds. And I thought, if it was me, I would eat all that stuff and then I would go back to bed. There's a lot of cars out for it being so late at night. 4:44 a.m. So that was my life today. And then, what else did I do? My friend is having a recovery barbecue, social distancing barbecue with like very few people on Saturday. So she invited me, so I may do that. But I don't know. Alex and like 3 of his girlfriends are going out over to lay over at like his friend that he works with. Her house, they have a really nice pool, and so they're going over there to lay out on Saturday. And he was like, you can come if you want. And I'm like, you know, they all have little kids, first of all. Which it'll be like splashy central, you know. And I was like, you know, I don't know that I necessarily feel, I'm not like in a place, like, I hate this right about myself, but like, I've gained so much weight. I I mean, I was heavy before, but you know, like, since being at home with the COVID and the potato chips and the onion dip, like, I am so heavy right now. And you know, in all honesty, like, there was a long period where I just was kind of like, I don't really care, like, I'll go do things, I'll take my shirt off at the beach and the pool. But right now, like, I feel like I have retracted to back where I was like 6 or 7 years ago. I'm just like, to go up to the pool, like, in our neighborhood where nobody knows me, and jump in the pool and lay out a chair by myself in the corner, like, I can totally do that. But, you know, I don't know how I feel about being around people. Like, I'm really heavy, like, really, really heavy. And I don't know how I feel about hanging out with people that I know. Like, I'm not comfortable doing that right now. And I don't like that feeling. It's been a long feeling since I felt like that, where, yet again, my weight is compromising me going to do things. And I know that there are going to be people in the comment section that are going to be like, don't let your weight stop you from doing things, and, you know, live your life and whatever, and, you know, and all of that. And people will say, oh, that's not true, you look great and whatever. But, like, you only ever see me from here up, and you do see all this, and I see it when I show it back, and I'm super heavy. You can see it in my face. And I'm the heaviest I've ever been. Like, I think right now I'm the heaviest I've ever been in my life. And, I'm actually kind of surprised it's not affecting me more, except that I think I'm just so, other than, you know, the things going on in the world, I think in my personal life, you know, with my, like, marriage and my friends and recovery and things like that, job and everything, I think I feel so blessed and so happy that I'm just, like, in this state of comfort that, like, I just eat and I don't care, you know, like, I don't know, like, I don't think about it until, like, I have to either A, go to do something that I can't fit in any clothes. I literally have one pair of shorts that fits right now and not comfortably. I have no pants that will fit. I don't even know what I would do if I actually had to go to something. I literally wear sweat shorts and t-shirt every single day. And, but I can't say, like, I'm unhappy. Like, I'm unhappy when I start talking about my weight, or, you know, when the weight is an obstacle to me going to do things in my life, you know, like laying out by a pool. Because, don't get me wrong, I'd love to lay out by a pool this weekend. But I don't feel comfortable doing that. I just don't, you know. And Alex and I have actually talked about it. And, you know, he's real supportive. And he's like, babe, I'm, you know, like, I understand that you don't want to go lay out by a pool. I'm not going to, I mean, we didn't just talk about that. We talked about my weight in general. We've talked about it a couple times. And he's been really helpful. And he's like, whatever you want me to do, I'll do to help you. Like, whatever I can say, whatever I can do, you know. And I'm just such a food addict. And I've talked to my sponsor so much about it. And I don't know. It's kind of just like food is my safe place, I think. And it's my, like, at the end of the day, I love just to sit there and watch Family Feud and eat. I mean, like, that's where I eat dinner, you know, or Alex and I watching something and eat. We're not even going out to dinner anymore, you know? So, I don't know, something's got to change. I say that, you know, and then I don't. I don't know, it's hard, you know. I was like talking the other night about, when I was on here, I was talking about, like, you know, being on a diet in high school, not being able to remember, you know, when that was and whatever. And, like, I was thinking about that, and that's, you know, let's just say if it was 16, 17, or 18, I don't remember, but I think it was 16, you know, that I was between 15 and 16 that I did that. You know, then you're talking 30 plus years of my life, because before that I didn't really struggle with my weight. You're talking about 30 plus years of my life that I have struggled with my weight. 30 plus years that I have yo-yo dieted and done trendy diets and fad diets and worked out and ran and did healthy living, I've done it all. I have ran the gamut. And you know what's interesting is that sometimes like when I watch people like on YouTube or whatever that are doing weight loss things or talking about their weight or complaining about their weight, like I feel so far removed from it. Like, this is where my body dysmorphia comes in, because to me, like, just sitting here right now, like, I don't feel like right now in my skin, like, I don't feel that heavy. Okay, like, until I'm trying to put on a pair of clothes or I'm looking at myself in the mirror, then I really realize my weight, or until I get on a scale, then I really realize my weight. I have like kind of like reversed body dysmorphia. You know, like when people, if you don't know what body dysmorphia is, it means what you see is different than what other people see. So, or what you see is different than reality, okay? Your perception of your body is different than reality. But most people have it like, they think they're really, really heavy when they're actually thin. But I have, like, that's typically how it works, or like when people talk about it. But I have it another way. I have it where I'm really heavy, and I, like, if I take a picture with my husband, and I'm like, hey, like, whatever, like, I imagine myself in my head a certain way, and then when I see the picture, I'm literally broader and wider, and my stomach's pooching out, and everything in a way that I don't imagine that in my head. I don't see that as my picture. Does that make sense? Like, I see my picture at, like, probably realistically, like, 180, 190 is where I see myself in my head. But I haven't been there in years. And, so then when I see the pictures or whatever, and I think I just kind of, like, steer away from it, like, just kind of, like, out of sight, out of mind. Until it comes down to, like, going to do something or wearing a certain outfit, or, like, going to lay out by a pool, which I would love to do, but I don't feel comfortable doing that, I was going to say I'm not going to do it. I don't feel comfortable doing it. And so then my weight is an obstacle to me enjoying my life, and that's a problem, and I think, like, I've watched a lot of channels. If you guys watch my drama channels, you know who I'm talking about. But, like, there's more than one. It's, a couple of them. And then I also watch it, like, Obese to Beast guy. I like him. And there's some other channels of, like, weight loss channels I watch. There's actually this girl that she does the Optavia stuff that I like her. And there's other people, and I watch them. And there's some, I think, weight loss people that get a lot of hate and a lot of negativity. And it's like, and I know that whenever I start talking about my weight again, that, like, my haters out there are like, oh my God, I know they love it, and they start laughing and whatever, But to be real honest, like, I set myself up for that, like, I don't have to talk about it at all. I would never have to talk about my weight over here, but this is part of my life, it is what it is. And I also feel like it is laughable. I mean, because it's like, how many times have I talked about it? I remember, like, I'm not asking for nasty comments, but, like, every once in a while, like, some of the comments people leave you are just rude, like, I feel very blessed, like, in talking to other YouTubers, and they're like, how do you deal with the hate? Like, sometimes the hate is like, I'm like, I really don't get a lot of it. I mean, like, I'm sure it goes on behind the scenes, but I just don't go to I don't look at those places anymore. Like, there was a time that I did, but I just don't, So when people don't, I don't seek it out. So, and people want to have their say, they can have their say. Like, that's their business, right? But, like, typically in the comments of my videos, I don't get a lot of nasty comments, and I have a lot of words blocked on my channels. So, I mean, certain words, the comment won't come through, and so I just won't see it. And I don't ever go into, I can honestly say this, like, I do not remember the last time, it's probably been over at least a year and a half, even maybe longer than that, somebody on here would know better than me, because I probably said it, that I actually went into any of my channels, any of them, to the held for review, because there's like, okay, so if you have certain words, that you don't want to show up in your comments, like, you guys, I mean, my words that I have for held for review are pretty, like, they're words that you guys would guess, okay? They're mean words towards gay people and things like that, right? any kind of derogatory word is like one of my keywords that you can't say on my channels. But other than that, I just kind of let people say what they want to say, right? So if one of those comments come through, it gets held for review, and then I have to go through and I have to approve it. Well, like on my drama channel, there's probably, there's thousands upon thousands upon thousands of comments held for review that I have not gone and looked at, and I can't even tell you how long, like probably 2 years. And you know what's really interesting when you go to it is that there's a lot of comments that are held for review. Like I'll get people that will comment on my video and they'll say like, my comment was deleted, and it wasn't deleted. It's just like it shows up for a second and then it goes away. I don't know why that is when it's like held for review. But where am I at on time? Because I think I should probably start heading home. I'll go down here for a little bit. But anyway, but like they'll say what the comment was, and it was like nothing that was even bad, you know? And they're like, I don't know why my comment was deleted. And they're like, here, I'm gonna read. And I'm like, I have no, because I can see it for a second, like when it comes up sometimes, and then it'll be like gone right away. Sometimes if I catch it like quick enough in the Creator app, and I'll see it and I'll be like, yeah, I don't know why it's gone, you know? I very rarely delete comments, and I have to tell you, I know people don't believe it. I don't really care what people believe. If I want to delete every comment that's on my channel, it's my channel, I'll do what I want. So there's no reason for me to lie about it. I very rarely delete comments. But I'll tell you what happens is, I honestly can't remember the last comment that I deleted on any of my channels. But if, you know, like, I might delete a comment if there's like a thread and people are attacking each other. I might just go in and delete the original comment. I sometimes do that. Because I just don't want people fighting in my comment sections. Like if they're like really coming at each other and hurting people's feelings and stuff, I'll just delete the original comment and the whole thing is gone. But I haven't done that in a long time. But like if I'm having a bad day, like if I'm just not feeling it, and I go in and someone says something like you deserve to not have a mother or something like that, I'm like, you know what? And I'll tell you the other thing is, I don't delete them, I block them from my channel. I just block and hide them. You can do that. You can block people from your channel. I very rarely ever just delete a comment. If your comment disappears on my channel, if you're somebody that left a nasty comment and like, or have left more than one, chances are you didn't get your comment deleted, you got blocked. And the other thing is this, especially on this channel, if it's somebody that comments a lot, like this happens on my vlog channel quite a bit. Like if it's somebody that comments quite a lot and like all of a sudden their comments kind of turn and I'm like, okay, like they'll leave me a comment and it's like, ooh, like I don't know that I care for that comment, you know what I mean? And I'm kind of like, did I read it wrong, or are they just having a bad day, or was it they didn't like what I said in my vlog, you know, maybe all that, because you know, I want people to be able to have their say in my comment sections, right? So then I'll kind of just like watch that person and then like, you know, see what they're doing over the next couple videos. And if it's somebody that turns into like just constantly being very critical for no reason whatsoever other than just being critical, then I block them. I just like, you know what, like, I'm just done. I don't, you're just here to criticize me at this point. You're not enjoying the video. I don't know why you're watching my vlog. So, you know, maybe this will help you find your way out of here. Keep on watching if you want, but you're not going to comment. But I haven't done that. I mean, I will tell you right now, there's a couple people I'm watching. But I also think there are people that just have bad days. You know, I've had people on here before that, like, will leave a really kind of, like, border edge nasty comment, and then the next day turn around and it's a completely different comment. And I'm like, well, maybe they were just having a bad day, or maybe they didn't agree with what I was saying in a video, and that's completely fine. We don't have to agree with each other, right? But I do think that there's a way to say things to each other that's respectful. I'm not even asking you to kiss my ass or be nice. I'm just saying there's, you know, so, like, I don't delete comments very often. But going back to what I was saying about, I will tell you this, though. I do know, like, people, like, most people that I have ever interacted with, I was actually, like, so most YouTubers have, like, a YouTube manager, and I was actually talking to the other day with mine, and we were talking about deleting comments. What did he say? I can't remember what he said. We were talking about something to do with that. And I said, can't remember what it was about. I don't remember, but anyway, he said, well, you know that you can use keywords, and I said, well, I do have certain keywords, and he goes, well, you could just, you know, hire somebody to moderate. I said, listen, I said, everybody that I know has moderators for their channel that they have go in and delete all of the hateful comments. You guys have no idea. Oh God, this stupid camera is doing this again. There it goes. I have to be honest with you. Literally almost every YouTuber, to some degree that I know, with the exception of maybe 2 or 3, goes in and highly edits their comment sections. I can't believe they don't get called out on it more often, honestly. Or they have somebody that goes in, like they don't even know. Like they have somebody that goes in and just like deletes all the nasty comments, or the borderline. They'll allow the ones that are like conversations, but like the ones that are just like, you know, like calling them out, they delete them right off their channel. So when you go to it, you don't see it, right? You see the dislikes, but you don't see that. And so anyway, but he and I were talking about it, and he is such a great guy, and he is so hilarious. And he was like, so you don't delete comments? I said, no, I could care less. I have better things to do. And he started laughing, and he was like, well, so what's your attitude about it? And I said, my attitude about it is, I've always said since I've been on YouTube that people should have their say. I mean, I like when you go to a video and you see a lot of mix of comments. Like when you go to a video and you see that it's all just glowing comments, it's like, who are you doing this for? Are you doing this for you, or are you putting on a fakery show? You know what I mean? Oh, I know what we were talking about. We were talking about my video I did on Tati, and how I got a lot of disappointed comments, people that were disappointed in what I said and whatever. And he was like, well, what did you do with it? And I said, I went in and I addressed it. I said I let the video sit up for like, 24 hours before I addressed it. I wanted to see everybody that came through, what they had to say. I wanted to read their comments. I wanted to take them into consideration. I wrote down a lot of things that were consistent, that different themes that people had to say, positive and negative. And I sat down and I did some inventory over it and kind of looked at it, And he said, so you didn't delete the comments? I said, no, I didn't. Let people have their say. Like, I make the video and I put it out there. People should have their say, I think it's so phony when people delete comments. And, and then if you ever say anything about a YouTuber and you say, oh, so-and-so deletes all their comments, or they're just deleting all the negative comments, people will say, it's not good for their mental health. Then don't go read your comment sections. You have a choice. You don't have to go into your comment sections and read them. You don't. Don't go there. But allow your fans or people to have their say. I just don't understand it. It just makes no sense to me. But anyway, going back to how this originally started, it's always interesting to me. I don't think it's nice. Okay, first of all, I don't understand hate watching, period. I just don't get it. I know that there's several people that hate watch my channel, and I really, to be honest with you, it just makes no sense to me. I really don't understand it. To me, it's like watching a TV show you can't stand for 2 hours every day. I really don't understand it. I don't fight it. It's do your thing. If that's what you want to do, and it's enjoyable for you, or you think I'm ridiculous, or you think I'm foolish, or whatever, I get that. But what was I thinking about the other day that I was comparing to, I was talking to, I feel like I was talking to Caroline, my cousin, about, hate watching, because we were talking about something that we watch, and it was, comparable to that, and I was I kind of get it from that point of view. But I know the people that watch me, that hate me, that don't like me, I know it's not they're watching me because they, it's number one, they're trying to find anything about me that they possibly can, number one. Number two is that they think I'm foolish. I know that, okay? They think I'm foolish, and then, you know, all this kind of stuff about me, and I'm ridiculous, and it's like, whatever, I get that, okay? Like, there's gonna always be those people that think that about you. Let them watch you, you know? And, I think it bothered me at first, and then I was just kind of like, you know, that's just reality, that's just the world, you know, like, I mean, I put myself out there, so I'm opening myself up to that, right, you know? I mean, I think if I even met, like, one of my, like, somebody that, like, really hated my channel, and they were, like, really honest with me about it, like, if they didn't hide, you know, and they, like, came up to me on the street, and they said, hey, you know, like, I'm Judy Smith, and I watch your vlog every night, and I was like, you do? Oh, thank you. And they were like, well, don't thank me, I watch it because, you know, I really can't stand you, and you say this, and you say that, but it's not true. You know, I think I would sit down with them, and I would have, like, I'd say, could we sit down and talk for a second? You know, if they were, like, open to do that, I'd be like, you know, like, first of all, explain to me why you watch me, because literally, I mean, it's not like it's a 10-minute video, it's an hour and a half to 2 hours every single night. I'd be like, explain to me why you decide to invest that much time in something that you don't enjoy, right? And I think the majority of them would say, well, I do enjoy, like, watching the absolute ridiculousness of you. Like, you're stupid, you know? Like, do you even realize how stupid you are? Or how stupid you sound? Or how self-inflated you are? Or how egotistic you come across? Or you tell the same story 15 times? I mean, these are the comments I've gotten from haters in the past, you know? Or you lie, all your lies, you know? And I'd say, okay, so I get that, like, but then what's interesting about that to you? Like, why would you still want to watch somebody that does that? Like, I still don't understand that. Like, for me, like, that's not something I find enjoyable. But let's say if they did, like, I'm not gonna change for somebody like that. I mean, that's not who I would change for, you know? But at the same time, like, I guess I would want to know what the interest factor is. Like, that's what I just don't understand, you know? But, like, this is where I was gonna say originally, like, I kind of love that, like, Amy Slayton, you know, like, all these people came for her. If you don't know who Amy Slayton is, she's a channel, she's heavy, real heavy girl, and she did, like, deep fried Twinkies. People would request stuff from her to do, and it would be like, review a deep fried Twinkie, and her videos were like 3 minutes, and they were real unedited, and she'd be like right in the camera eating this deep fried Twinkie, and she'd be like, I'm never gonna review another food on here again. Then the next week there'd be another food that she would review. Well, she got so highly criticized for her weight, you know, and her sister Tammy was heavy, and there's, like, this is just the very, like, top of it. I mean, there's stories about lies that she told. I mean, she's just an entire character of her own. Well, you know, Amy kind of turned it around, and she got on this reality show on, I think it was on TLC, with her sister called 1,000-Pound Sisters, and Amy has lost, like, a ridiculous amount of weight. I can't say, because I personally know how much weight she's lost, but I can't say how much weight she's lost. So anyway, I mean, it's, like, ridiculous amount of weight. Like, she didn't even look like the same person. And, you know, like, I'm real proud of her, and I think that that's really cool. She and I aren't that close, but, like, we've talked, you know, back and forth from time to time, and she'll reach out to me, and I reach out to her for stuff, but whatever. I'm real proud of her. I think anybody that takes that in her hands, you know, and, like, she got her fair share of hate, you know, and I feel like I said something to her one time. We were talking about, like, the hate that she receives, and she's like, well, I know that I'm gonna get it because of the things that I do. Like, I can't get mad, you know, like, at people that don't like me if I'm the one that's putting this out there. And that's the truth. If I'm gonna sit on video and I'm gonna complain, oh, this is what I was gonna say. I got this one comment, and this was like, you guys, and honestly, this was like 2 years ago, okay? Am I really almost at 30 minutes? I think I am. But this was like 2 years ago or a year and a half ago that I got this comment. Can you believe that the sun is coming up already? I said, it was like in October or something like that. And I said, September or October, and I said I was going on this diet. This might have been when I started the Optavia thing, right? And no, because this was like the year before. So I guess this would have been like a year and 9 months ago. I started this diet, like I was real serious about it, right? And it's gonna stop. So I'm just gonna stop it now. I'll be right back. I didn't want to get 10 seconds into my story. Look at that, how pretty that is. And what's so funny is that when I'm looking over here, it is like completely dark. It doesn't look like that on camera. That is so pretty though, isn't it? It looks like the poster for a movie. I should pick a thumbnail right now. That's not a good thumbnail. I look wrecked today, but anyway. So, what was I gonna say? I don't remember what I was gonna say now. Oh, I got this comment on my video. Like, these are the comments, you guys, that are hard to read, right? Like, some of the critical comments that I get where people, like, are like, you're so old, why do you care about this kind of stuff? Like, that's on the drama channel, you know? Or, you sound like a 16-year-old valley girl, why do you talk like that? I don't care about all those conversations, you know, whatever, stuff like that. On and on and on. But like, those comments don't really bother me. This comment stuck with me. I don't know that it bothered me. Actually, I think it did bother me. I know it did. It bothered me because I knew it was true, okay? And I felt it in my heart. But I also kind of took it on as a challenge. And the comment was like, here he goes again, talking about this diet. He goes about losing weight before Ultra. And at that point, it was like 6 months away, Ultra. And they said, I guarantee you, 6 months from now, he'll be the same weight he is now, complaining about his weight. And true story, I was exactly the same weight 6 months later, if not heavier, when we went to Ultra Music Festival. And I can tell you, heading down there, I remembered that comment. And I was pissed. I was like buying new clothes because nothing fit. And I was like, here we go again, another year, another Ultra. And it would have been the same thing if we'd gone this year. And if I don't get myself under wraps, it's gonna be the same thing next year. So I can't be mad about people like laughing about the ridiculousness of me not being able to lose weight. You know, it is funny. I mean, it's not funny, haha, like a knock-knock joke, but it is ridiculous. It's like, how long are you going to talk about it before you do something about it? But, like, it's so difficult at the same time, you know? Like, I mean, don't think that I don't sit there with my good Judy and I'm like, girl, like, what am I going to do? Like, I'm so heavy, you know? Like, I mean, like, I laugh at my own ridiculousness of it sometimes. But I think the split of that is, the other side of that is, I'm really sad about it. And I feel stuck. Like, I really feel like I'm just stuck in this, you know? And it's of my own doing. I know that. Hell, I was gonna start eating healthier tonight or today. And then, like, got home and Alex made fried rice on the stove. I don't even know how he knew how to make fried rice. But anyway, he was making fried rice with chicken and all this kind of stuff and rice in the rice cooker. And it smelled so good, and I was like, I'm hungry. And I was like, I'm gonna go get some of this corn dip. It was like, I was just like, I've worked so hard today, you know, I've been doing this, I've been doing that, whatever. I had so many things I had to do today. And I got all this stuff done, and so I was like, I want to relax and sit here and watch. See, it's a reward for me at the end of the day, which is very much the same addictive thinking, you know, because like if I was drinking, I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna have a beer or a drink now, you know. Although I never really drank like that, I just kind of drank. I didn't need to reward myself for anything, you know what I mean? It's sad, you know? Sun comes up, it's Tuesday morning. Me straight in the eye. I guess she forgot to close the blinds last night. Do you guys like the Cowboy Junkies? I used to be obsessed with the Cowboy Junkies. They sing the version of Sweet Jane that's in the movie. What's the movie with Woody Harrelson and Juliette Lewis where they're serial killers? Natural Born Killers. That is a great but very weird movie. Blue Moon. And the Cowboy Junkies version of Blue Moon was in So the Cowboy Junkies sing a song called Sun Comes Up, It's Tuesday Morning. It's probably my favorite song of theirs. It's about this girl that, like, well, it's her, and she's just having a crappy Tuesday, and she wakes up, and she and her boyfriend have broken up. She kind of forgot they broke up, and so she wakes up, and the window's open, and she thinks she blames it on him, but then she realizes that he's been moved out, and she goes down to the place for it's like everything is wrong in her life. It's really a great song. But anyway, there was this movie when I was in high school or college that I loved. I should look it up and see if I can find it. It was such a magical movie, and it was with Uma Thurman and the guy that was, what's his name? The guy with the mustache. I can't think of what famous movie. He was in, like, a really famous movie, but I remember him from, he was in, like, War Games or E.T. or something like that, but I remember him from the movie Cloak and Dagger. No, that's why I'm thinking E.T. He wasn't in E.T. because that kid was in the movie Cloak and Dagger. That Henry, whatever his name is. What was that guy's name that was in that movie too? And he played his dad. But he played the dad, and this movie was with Uma Thurman, and she had, like, 2 sisters and a brother, and they were all of them, like, real artsy and different, and they lived in this, like, house. Like, they were real rich, and then they lost all their money, and Uma Thurman was, like, a painter in the movie. It was really different. It was, like, about this really different family, and, at the very end, they had, like, this wedding or birthday party or something, like, on the lake. It was, like, this fantastic movie. It was so beautiful, and the music was amazing in it. And I want to know what that movie was called. I feel like it's called Something in Her Sisters, but I could be wrong. I'll look it up here in a second. I really like Uma Thurman. What happened to her? Does she not make movies anymore? Did you ever see the movie U-Turn? With Claire Danes, and Sean Penn was in it, and they're sitting in a diner. This is one of my all-time favorite lines of any movie, and Patsy Cline's playing in the back of the, Patsy Cline's song is playing, I think it's Crazy, actually, it's playing in the background, and, she looks at Sean Penn, Claire Danes, I think she's like the waitress or something there. Salma Hayek's in it too. Is it Salma Hayek or Jennifer Lopez? It's Salma Hayek, I'm almost positive, and she's like, I love that Patsy Cline. I wonder why that Patsy Cline don't make no more, make records no more. And Sean Penn looks at her and he goes, "'Cause she's dead." It's like such a great line. But anyway, Uma Thurman was so good in Pulp Fiction. I think she's got, like, been raising the kids or something like that. She also is fantastic in, the Kill Bill movies. Those movies are really, really, really good. I mean, they really are that good. I kind of like the second one better than I like the first one, honestly. I should watch those again, too. I maybe need to take a week and not watch any TV shows and then just watch movies that I really like. Alright, I'm going to start finishing my vlog now, and then when I pull into the gas station up here, I'm going to end it, and I will tell you what the Uma Thurman movie is. So anyway, if you guys made it this far in the vlog, it is such a beautiful morning outside. The sky is so pretty. If you guys made it, here, I'll show you, see? Look at that. Isn't that so pretty? Unbelievable. Oh, the battery's going to die. Anyway, I'll see how far I can make it. If you guys made it this far in the vlog tonight, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this vlog, this video, please give it a big thumbs up. It really does mean a lot to me. It makes me feel special. It makes me happy. I really appreciate it. Also, that's the like button. You do that. Also, make sure that you're still subscribed to this channel and all of my other channels. Or if you're not, please think about subscribing. And also put a blue heart in the comment section below for the OG Wolf Pack. That's all of us over here just trying to get through life one day at a time, being kind and nice to each other, and putting positivity out there in the world. And let's see. I hope you guys are having, and it's Thursday, trash day. I hope you're that means we put our trash out. I hope you're having an amazing Thursday, unless you have other plans. But like I always say, don't have other plans. Make the most of your day. Do something fun today. Do something exciting. Start a new book, start a new movie, start a new TV show. Do something that will make yourself proud when you look back on it tomorrow or the next day or the next week or the next month or the next year, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, 60 years, 69 years, family friendly, or 80 years or 100 years. Just do something that will make yourself proud when you look back on it. Anything. One small step at a time for change. And if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. Make sure that you look at yourself in the mirror every single day and you say, I love you, and at least one positive affirmation like, you are valuable. And every night before you go to bed, we'll say that every morning to yourself too. Say, I love you, and one affirmation like, you are valuable. And every night before you go to bed, say, tomorrow is going to be an amazing day. I'm going to be happy, joyous, and free all day tomorrow. I'm going to have great opportunities come my way and positive experiences all day long. I'm going to be happy, joyous, and free. I'm going to laugh and sing and talk to my friends and dance around my place, my house, my apartment, whatever. And I'm just going to be in a good mood. And if my day gets off track, I can start my day over whenever I want. And when you get up tomorrow, after you say to yourself, I love you, and one positive affirmation like you're valuable, say, today is going to be an amazing day. I'm going to be happy, joyous, and free all day today. Happy, joyous, and free all day today. And I'm going to laugh, and I'm going to smile, and I'm going to sing, and I'm going to dance, and I'm just going to have the most amazing day possible. And positive experience. I'm going to have great opportunities come my way, and I'm going to have really positive experiences all day long. And if my day gets off track, I can start my day over whenever I want. And most importantly, make sure that you reach out to somebody and let them know how much they mean to you. Just reach out to them and say, hey, I just want to let you know I was thinking of you today. It really makes a difference to let somebody know that you care and that they're important to somebody. Also, practice random acts of kindness, but like I always say, don't tell anyone, just do it because it's the right thing to do. And yeah, we're just putting goodness and kindness and love out there in the world. And okay, I'm back and I changed the battery. Anyway, just do it because it's the right thing to do. Okay, we're gonna practice random acts of kindness and put positivity and love out there in the world because it's the right thing to do. We're not gonna tell anyone. We're just gonna do it because we're good people. And I think that's it. So I need to, there's a lot of people at this gas station this morning. I need to look up this Uma Thurman movie because I'm gonna make a recommendation to you guys. And then I am gonna get off here. Uma Thurman. I can't spell her name. Uma Thurman movies. I wonder if I'll be able to find it when I look through here. This will be interesting. It's not Beautiful Girls, but do you remember that movie? Is it this one? The Adventures. It's not The Adventures of Baron von Munchausen. I remember that one now. Why can't I find it? Okay, Where the Heart Is, 1990. That would have been the year I graduated from high school. I feel like this is it. Hard-driving businessman Stuart McGain. Dabney Coleman. Yep, there we go. He was in, what do you call it? Cloak and Dagger. Demolishes old buildings to make room for the new, but when he tries to blow up a Brooklyn tenement, his redevelopment plans get him into trouble with a group of civic activists and also earn the criticism of his coddled children. Daphne, Uma Thurman, Jimmy, David Hewlett, and Chloe, Susie Amos. In retaliation, Stewart throws them out, and they find themselves forced to live in a dilapidated building. February 23rd, 1990. It's such a great movie. Oh, Crispin Glover was in it, too. Do you guys remember Crispin Glover? He was so good in the David Lynch movies. He was so great. What happened to him? Has he been in any movies recently? He's 56 years old now. That's crazy. Anyway, So you guys should go check that movie out. It's called Where the Heart Is. And if you watch it, let me know what you think. I'm going to try to find it too. So anyway, I love you guys, and I hope you're having an amazing Thursday, like I said with everything earlier. And I love you, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Love ya. Bye.